guys, this is jjlockhART back again this week. This week I am finishing my Batman vs. Superman digital drawing, so this is part 2. If you haven't checked out part 1, please check out part 1 first. And this is just the second part. It was just too big of a piece to finish in one part, so I created 2 videos on it. The first one was just Superman and the shield area in the front, and so the second part I'm finishing up the entire design. So I'm working on Wonder Woman, Batman, and then just the background. So as you can see, I'm working on Wonder Woman right now and just adding some shadows to her face. I'm just putting down all my darks just to start adding some values. And then I'm putting a little bit of highlight. That's one of my favorite parts is after I put all the shadows down, or most of my shadows down, I go in and start putting highlights. And I really enjoy doing that because you start developing the shape of the face a little bit better. You start developing where the high points are, and also that way you can go back and get the deeper areas even deeper if need be. So I really enjoy adding the highlights to the face, just to help develop further the shape of the cheekbones, the nose, the Cupid's bow, certain areas like that. And at this point, I'm just not really liking the direction that her eyes are looking, so I just decide to switch it up and have her forward facing, or no, I guess her eyes looking straight forward. And now I'm just adding the even deeper areas. And I've added the lip color, and I'm just putting a little bit of shadow into the lip color. And the lip color, I just picked a color from the Superman section, just because I wanted the flesh tones, or the pinks and the flesh tone, to be similar. So I just picked a color from his cheek area and just amplified it a little bit so that's a little brighter since she is a female. Giving her chest a little more shape. And I've also selected different skin tones from the Superman area as well, just so that the skin tones look similar. Not entirely the same because of their different ethnicities, but I did want to keep the overall feel similar, so I did pick some colors off of Superman. And then at this point I'm just doing some undertones, putting some yellows and some pinks in, just because, like I said, she is a different ethnicity, so I do want her to have a little bit of a different undertone. And adding a little bit smaller highlights. just adding a little bit of shadow to her hair and further developing the chunks of hair. When I do hair, like I've said in my previous videos, I like to do clumps of hair instead of trying to do individual strands, and then I go back and do a couple of individual to sort of break the outer shape, and a little bit of highlighting same way. And then it looked a little too bright or too light, so I went in and added a little more depth. And adding some more deeper tones, adding a little more shadow here and there. And I just keep going back and forth between highlights and shadows just to get my highlights even lighter and my shadows even deeper. I just keep going back and forth so that I can evenly see what needs to be darker and what needs to be lighter. And I'm just adding a little bit of texture to the outfit. And then I'm adding that spray texture in order to give it a little bit of roughness so it doesn't look as smooth. And the same thing for Batman here. I'm just adding this sort of spray to give this a spotted, a rough look to it, especially a scruff on his chin, just adding some more texture. And then I'm just lightening it up a little bit. And adding, with that same scruffy spray texture, adding some of the highlights in there. I'm going in and darkening the areas where there should be some shadow. And now I'm just adding more shadow, not with the spray texture anymore, just because I want to develop those areas even further. I want to really darken those areas, adding the shadows. Adding a little bit of highlights here and there. And I'm also adding them in places so that it helps give the illusion of roundness, so that his head looks a little bit more round and not as flat. I'm just adding some more shadowed areas where I think it needs to be darker. Adding some highlights. I'm just adding some shadows to the entire piece where I feel like certain areas should be a little bit darker or deeper. And that little white spot behind Superman was really bothering me, so that's why I decided to darken it in. And that way it would be part of Batman and it wouldn't be this just awkward shape right under his ear. And adding a little bit of highlight. Like I said, I'm just adjusting the overall piece. Once I've worked on the different areas, I like to stand back and just sort of look at it overall and figure out what needs to be darker, what needs to be lighter. And then for the background, I just came up with this simple like dawn effect, I guess, for, just the dawn of justice, sort of just this blue and then just a little bit of yellow with that spray effect, just to give it a little bit of gradation to the colors. Just a simple background, just because there's 3 characters in the composition already, so I don't want to get it too, I guess I don't want my background to be too complex and get pull the attention towards that. I want the attention on the 3 characters. So that's why I went with a simple background, and just to give it that effect of dawn of justice. And so that's the entire work, and thank you so much for watching, and please do follow me on social media. Thank you.